Turn it over to my man Bone.
What up, world? It's your man, not your boy. Bonafide 100, plug to the city. You know it's GP and G everything around here, man. Like Vague Ringtone said, Mr. Vegas, we got a special guest, man, the homie. The plug when it come to the cannabis industry, man. Worldwide traveler, my guy G. I call him Sack, actually. But I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell you a little bit about himself and what he's up to and why he's in Vegas.
What's happening? My name is Sack, and I invented this stuff years ago called 420 Honey. That's been kind of a dormant edible product for a little while that we're bringing back this week at the MJ BizCon. We have about 8 states that the THC version is forthcoming in over the next quarter. I have two different.
Is Vegas one?
Yeah,
Okay,
Las Vegas.
all right.
That's one of the reasons I got here ahead of the event, was to talk with the lab and the grow. And really, Honey is just a collaboration of some of the greatest people in this game, like from the growers in different states to then the processors they work with, and then how we kind of put it all together using crews like yourselves and to get us some publicity. And it's all coming along. I'm pretty happy with it.
Well, life's about relationships, man, and we loving ours, man. We know you brought us some samples. We'll tell them about that a little later. But this event, when is it? Tuesday, the 29th?
The 29th at the Lexi Hotel is the MJ BizCon after party, and the tickets are available on my IG, which is SAC 420HUNNY on the IG. You can get a code off of that for discounted tickets to that event. There's we've got.
What can they expect?
If you like shrooms, you got to go, because the Polka Dot, One Up, Big Chief, like some of the biggest brands in that area are doing it, and then we have the coffee shop right as you walk in the door that's going to have everything 420 Honey, so you can get yourself a latte. We have mixed teas. We're gonna have a boba drink there, and all this stuff is gonna be fortified with 420 Honey, and yeah, it's pretty good stuff.
Okay. Well, you in the cannabis state, for real. We smokes around here, man. I mean, for real. But we're gonna take a quick moment, a quick break, and we're gonna come back in a few seconds with Sack, tap back in with him. Couple technical difficulties. Bonafide 100, plug to the city. Mike Elliott, Vague Ringtone. We'll be back in a moment.
Yo, while we waiting,
What happened?
pausing.
The camera went, his battery died.
We got a radio station too.
Action.
25 hours a day.
Wow, right on.
Oh, thank you. You got a
So, Sack,
Yes, sir.
I don't know much about you, and I know you kind of explained a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And then you got into some of the other stuff that you actually do.
Yep.
Just kind of tell me who you are, and tell the audience, the people, let the audience and the guests know who you are, and really why you're here in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a former longtime football coach that invented a weed product back when I was a pretty young dude, and those two lives kind of merged at one point, and it's as I'm bringing back my weed product, a lot of the players I coached are now out of the NFL and dealing with some of the same things I did as a player, coming out from concussions and so forth, and why we've adopted a lifestyle of smoking weed and utilizing real full circle right now. I'm going to there's a meeting with a bunch of alumni football players this week that are all there to invest in cannabis brands, and I was invited by one of my former players.
NFL.
Yeah, the NFL, exactly. And that was so years ago when I first started with Snoops. I was doing a gig with High Times,
Okay.
and
The magazine High Time.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we were doing, basically I was developing articles to do for High Times Sports. And I started calling on all the NFL programs around the country to get them to talk to us, and they would not. They just would not. And so we started visiting them, seeing if they would let us in the door. And again, they wouldn't. And finally, the Lions did one day. I got to go to training camp and interview players. And Amendola was.
One question: Did you have a press pass?
I did. I had a press pass that said High Times on it.
Is that right?
And I stood up in the middle of the press conference to say, "Hi, this is Sack with High Times Sports."
Okay.
And the dude over in the side, well, cut! And you're not allowed to talk? This thing, they didn't want me mentioning High Times on anything publicly. It was funny.
Sounds like it was incredible.
It really, what I found was that there's just a lot of interest in this discussion. And the NFL didn't want to discuss it, and at the end of that year took it off their list of prohibited substances. I felt like, hey, that was my goal. We good. That's all I wanted was for. David Irving went through something years ago that was, like I don't want to tell his whole story out of turn or something, but what the NFL put him through was horrendous. A very talented young man that was doing very well in the NFL, got banned by the league and thrown out of the league and had to do a bunch of things. And the fact that kids aren't going to go through that anymore to me was
Same thing with the prison system.
true.
Same thing with the prison system. People that was getting time many years ago, people are getting freed for the same thing and no charge for today. But what I wanted to know, we got to get to the meat of it. How did you get to that Snoop Nutrients pre-roll project? How did that come about?
Well, years ago I was working for this company that their investment team kept mentioning they had Snoop Dogg. And I sat through a number of these meetings and started questioning it myself, to the point I'm like, these dudes are mentioning him as if he represents his company, and I don't think he does. So I went and found, through my oldest associate in the game, who I'll leave out of this discussion, I told him straight up, who runs Snoop's Nutrients? And he put me on the phone with the dude that invented it and runs it, and about a week later the man hired me. And I started hustling it all over the country and getting grows involved in it. And it just, currently we're kind of restructuring Snoop's Nutrients. I'm not sure what the future holds with all that. And it was in the middle of all that I decided to relaunch 420 Honey.
So what did you think about that joke that he just did? He
Smokeless.
Yeah. See, people didn't see your page. They didn't see what you posted.
Right. I have people that still, like, even just this morning, somebody posted, "Did you hear it was a spoof?" It's like, yeah, dude, I know. Like, it's not like I got notified ahead of time, but I had a feeling something was up. And so we all posted responses to it to just kind of capitalize on the energy to it. And sure enough, that always works. Everybody was talking about it for days, and it was a lot of fun. And then, of course, he's sitting there burning a blunt in front of his smokeless heater.
Right.
And it was at that moment that it just reminded me his whole team around him is just money. They're so good.
Dude, and
they're so good.
He just did a deal with Martha Stewart, a cannabis deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when they were saying it, and he has so many cannabis deals out there. So when it was said, I know people was like, sponsors, everybody was just, and then the rappers start following suit. Oh, I'm gonna quit smoking too. Thanks, Uncle Snoop.
You heard a lot of that. That was
Oh,
funny.
my
Some of the
God.
responses were funny that really took it serious. Like he was quitting weed forever. And
Man, but it's great, man. It's a beautiful thing to have you back in the city of Vegas. You ain't new to the city. You've been here a few times.
Yep.
The Cannabis Awards and different events, whether it was Big Percy in the Place and some of those things where we met. And what do you got going on this week, this coming week? What is the two events that I know you spoke about one. What is
yeah,
the
we're
other?
doing the Lemon Haze event, which is all the former NFL alumni. They're coming, and we get to propose honey to those guys. And because we're a startup company that's looking for capital and raising money to accomplish all these different goals.
Break bread or fake dead.
Yep.
Come on now,
Yep.
tap in.
And so that's a big event. I got a couple of my former players that are going to be there, and we've remained just great friends over the years. And so it's thrilling to kind of come full circle with some of that stuff. And the product that we're bringing to the table there is just really great. It's it's something that I'm real excited because we can sell it anywhere.
So be real with us, man. Give us the benefits, the pros and cons with the 420 honey. Because you know people, the first thing they're going to ask is, oh, it's 420 honey. Does it get you high?
Look, I invented the stuff wanting it to be a cool, like, I was single and young and thought it was going to be fun and maybe in strip clubs or all this different stuff.
Oh, yeah, all on different butt cheeks.
I had heavy set girls in muumuus waiting hours in dispensaries to thank me and want to give me a big hug with their hairy armpits saying, thank you, Sack, I love you. But where they explained to me what it did for them. And so, like, if you're going through chemotherapy, the 420 honey helps people eat. It the same thing where you get the munchies from smoking weed, you can get those effects from your stomach. The stomach, and if you haven't eaten in 4 days because of some surgery or chemotherapy, getting a cracker to stay down is a big, because that leads to maybe wanting a cup of soup or something that and so there's that. I found in my mature years, amen. There's women going through menopause now. There's that are being able to sleep on the stuff. I have women that never smoke pot in their life and put a teaspoon of the stuff in their tea every single night. It just calms them down and helps their process to get them to sleep at night. And so the different things that it can treat is just blown me away over the years. It's why I literally knew that no matter what I do, I have to do this. I have to get it out to the world because it has such an effect on so many different areas. And now that we've come up with different formulations and ways to get it into all the different markets, it's really kind of like an endless thing. Gummies, a lot of times, are being made with sugar. We've already determined that sugar is terrible for you. So we have raw honey and agave nectar and some all-natural products that are really going to compete well with the different gummies out there. And, everybody's looking for effect. And most edibles are made with tincture. Most edibles are made with distillate, which is basically the liquid weed that they get off of big batches of trim. It's not done in nug run. It's not.
Pay attention.
Live resin or diamond runs are the most potent versions, and it is a form of cold water hash, essentially, which is one of the oldest school formulas, and that's exactly how we make 420 honey. It's essentially a cold water hash, and the way that kind of folds in with agave nectar and honey and the different liquid things, there's just an endless amount. We'll put it in coffee stores, we'll put it in restaurants that'll be making infused things. Agave nectar acts just like teriyaki sauce does when it bronzes on top of the meat. There's just so many different aspects to it, and we're planning on basically introducing it in all of them. I have a chiropractor in Southern California that is going to be carrying it and handing it out to everybody that leaves this facility.
That's what's up.
The honey after has no THC whatsoever. It's something that I feel comfortable telling somebody that if your son just came home from a soccer game and he's 7 years old and he's sitting there struggling over whatever, I have no problem with him administering 420 honey after, which is just called honey after, because there's no THC.
Kid friendly.
Zero THC.
Kid friendly. Come on now.
We're still in a situation today that if you live in Mississippi or Idaho and your son has brain tumor, he's 3 years old. Because of it, he's having 8 seizures a day, where you basically go through experiencing your kid dying in front of you and coming back to life over and over. We as a society don't yet provide RSO oil to these human beings, like free will, with like who? I want to know, and I'll get to tears with this one, man. I want to know. Where are you that wants to stand up and say that I shouldn't be able to send RSO to a man whose son is having 10 seizures a day as a result of leukemia or brain tumor or something, and yet Chalk Hospital is not administering CBD at this moment to all their patients. And Charlotte's Web, who paid $30 million for the rights to share this story with Major League Baseball. They're the official CBD of Major League Baseball. And the fact that that company accomplished that and could afford to pay that bill, I think just speaks volumes. But even still, the story and the ability that some politician then stood up and said, hey, can we do this RSO thing just everywhere? Like if you, because that's what I want to start is the emergency hotline. Call me. I don't care where you at, what you is, where what you need. We're going to send somebody. We're going to mail it to you. We're going to not fear any kind of criminal activity for doing so, because what we're doing is God's work. It just is. It's God's work, and so that, to me, at the end of the day, like what Honey is really all about is that right there. We're trying to change the way people think about medicines and weed and how it all kind of comes together, because we still don't have, this still isn't being tested in every university in the country. They're not, and I think we have the facts on cancer, that it's in there. We got to test it and prove it and get it to the point that we all agree, but that's still not being done. Pot's been legal since 98. 98.
That's because when they talk about systemic systems, they don't talk about the doctors and the hospitals and that whole, the pharmacies and all of that, man. They don't want us on no natural products, especially when it come to herbs.
Dude, I thought it was all the same. Remember in COVID when everything was shut down? I was waiting on some dude to show up and buy a bunch of weed from me in downtown LA. I had hours to do nothing, and I didn't know what to do, and I was depressed and couldn't visit my friends, because even my best friends would tell me, my wife won't have you here. You've been traveling the country, bro. You can't come by the house. So I walked through LA, downtown LA, a tent city, with a pound of weed, trying to give it away to people.
And what happened?
Nobody wanted it. This is tent city. These are all like,
I know exactly, downtown LA. I know exactly.
every one of them would ask me, do you got black? Do you got white? You got this, that?
No ganja though.
But nobody wanted even weed. I figured I was gonna make like 20 people's day. They would be like, you got pot for free? Thank God. All the people that are hooked on all these drugs that lead to the fentanyl deaths and all this just epidemic going on in our country, they don't start off weed. As a matter of fact, they can't stand it. It makes them think about things they don't want to think about or whatever, but they don't want to have nothing to do with it. And to me, that was startling, because the drug epidemic is coming from the doctor's offices. It ain't coming from my ganja bag.
You got that
It ain't coming from my bros that have been dealing weed since we were kids. That's not where it's coming from. It's coming from the man with the coat on, and he is owned by Pfizer, and they are pushing drugs that spin things into things.
Speak on it.
It's bad.
Facts.
It's really bad, and it and so that kind of all connects to Honey too. I want to get some drug addicts off of their thing, to get them using Honey every day, and they'll calm down and get through it. And I think we can save a few lives. And but yeah, we need a lot of change. That's, you bring up the systematic problems. It's like, whoa, we got so many things to deal with.
Man.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna just tell you the truth, man. Like, I could use one now, man. I could use me a honey blunt, a 420 honey blunt. You know what I mean? Lace it right
Hey,
in
can
there.
I share a story about the honey?
Please.
All right. So me and my partner back in 1994, we used to work at Club Paradise. The #1 strip club back in the days, right?
Yep.
All of the rich people came in there. So right down the street was the Quality Inn, the little hotel casino place. So we would get off at 5 in the morning. So while we were at work, we would smoke the honey blunts, right? And we would sit out right out front. So this one guy, he was always a wise guy. That don't smell like, just regular cigar. What is that? It smells kind of funny. But we would go inside the Quality Inn in the morning, have breakfast, roll up a honey blunt, smoke it right up off in there, eat, leave, and then, you know what I mean? It was just routine. It was so cold and then the air was blowing, they would have never knew anyways. But we put that honey around that joint,
Yeah.
Hey, that was back in the day. But see, man, just think if we had that back then. But there comes a time and a place for everything, and I think this is perfect timing. Everything comes full circle. So why not have a 420 honey blunt, huh?
Yeah.
I have actually a couple external products we're working on too.
Oh, really?
That'll be on the high end. That'll inject the honey into some neat wraps and things that are coming up that we'll be announcing this week as well through some good collaborations that we got going.
Man, you've been up to some amazing things since I met you. A lot of traveling, a lot of very resourceful. You know, when I found out you was in town, man, it was a blessing to get you and the team down here. We just gonna take a brief moment and come back in a second and wrap up. We got our boy Mike Elliott, the Vague Ringtone. You can go on YouTube channel and find us on there. We're live right now in Vegas. Got my boy Sack here. This is Bonafide, Plug to the City. We'll tap back in a minute in some seconds.
Vague show. We in the building with my man Sack in the building. Sack, you out of Cali?
Yeah,
What part of Cali?
Tustin.
Tustin. Okay, so that's a place I never heard of.
Yeah, Tustin is I played football there and coached there, and that's kind of what's cool for me is that the dudes I coached there are now bringing all this NFL crew to me, and it's just kind of some full circle stuff.
I like that in common with the coaching stuff because I coach. You know what I'm saying? I love the kids. I love sports. I won championships. I had one of the top teams in the country in 2007 in basketball.
Yeah.
Football, we won a national championship. 14U. We actually in basketball we won a championship here in Vegas. We won one in Arizona. We won one in California. I took like 11 players down. I mean, the sports. I love sports, man.
Man, we bragging here.
I got to interject on this.
Sports, hold on, coaching. We all, we all got something
So,
in common.
tell me about your good days.
Hey, I was
blessed.
actually,
I was blessed.
Look, to coach
I was blessed to
some
coach
people.
against your son.
Really?
I coached
don't wanna
against
hear,
your son.
I don't want to hear about that. That might not turn out. But one of the things I was blessed to do when I was coaching my son, my oldest son Drew, was coach a couple kids that one of them played at the University of Oklahoma, Quentin Carter. You know, couple NFL players, DeMarco Murray from here played for the Cowboys, and Quentin Carter. So shout out
Quentin
them,
Carter
man.
was over at Denver Broncos.
Played over there. I coached them kids, man. With
All
my
right, so
son
get
Drew.
this. I had, when they were 15 years old, I had Chris Chester, Frosty Rucker, Matt McCoy, and Sam and Ben Baker, all on the same,
Sam Baker.
all on the same team.
Right on.
Chris Chester played for the Ravens in the Super Bowl. He also was on that team that got beat. Was Atlanta Falcons. He was a great lineman. Frosty played for over 10 years. Matt McCoy was one of the sickest defenders I've ever seen play. He got drafted by the Eagles. Played for Tampa and Seattle.
You got
I had all them at 15 on one team, and we lost 2 games. Like
so you've done your thing, huh, in the coaching too. You've been pretty successful.
you know, like I think the coaching, whether it was Little League or at Modern Day, which I also coached at.
Powerhouse.
I went to go see Martin Day play 2 weeks ago.
I coached for Rawlinson in 2010 and 11, and my bros would come up to me and be like, "Sack, you sell weed. How'd you get this job?" And I've known Coach for years, and but all the cool things I've done with whether it was Snoop or weed or whatever, nothing in my mind sizes up to sports and that how you offer yourself to a community and affect not just the kids but their families and just the whole thing. It's just, to me, coaching was the greatest shit I ever did.
Well, you have something else, man. You've been blessed to have some great relationships. But there's another one, man, that we got to speak into, man. And you tell us about your relationship, man, with the one and only Coolio. Rest in peace.
Oh man, Coolio was, gosh, you know, his passing was, you know, because he was the first. I met a lot of dudes, you know, over the few years of running around with those guys, and Coolio was the one that I kind of hit it off with, and we got together a couple times, and he just we were fathers, you know, and just had so much to talk about that he was just one of those dudes that I really, really enjoyed. Was sorry to lose him, miss him dearly. And he won the golf beef. That was just good shit. Because we had hung out, I don't know, 6 months before, and that was the first I'd seen him in a minute then. And Cool was just a good dude, man. He would lecture me about Snoop. I said something about Dog, and I was repeating something that he said on ESPN.
Right.
Like I wasn't making it up or trying to do anything.
Come on now.
And Cool was so quick to jump on my ass that don't you dare ever say nothing for Dog. And you know, and I was like quickly like, whoa, he's damn serious. And it was good stuff though because
One of your best memories with Coolio though.
we were drinking about 6 in the morning, and we had just got done talking about his kids and fatherhood and being on the road and how that affects the kids, and you have a tough time having like that traditional fathering role kind of thing. But I knew I was about to stand up from the table just fucked up. I drank more booze in 6 hours of hanging out with him than ever, and I said to him, tell me this is going to be a rough night for you too. And he says to me, this is just Tuesday. This is just Tuesday. And
Where were you guys at?
Oh man, I forget what casino we were in.
Oh, you were in Vegas.
Yeah, we were here in Vegas for one of the other MJ. The MJ BizCon is the most amazing week.
Come on.
And how it hits Vegas because of who shows up. It's not just people part of the industry. It's key people part of the industry all around the world. I mean, you got people coming here from Germany and Israel and places that have advanced weed in ways that we haven't even done yet here in the United States.
Make sure you have a ticket for me. I'm gonna be there with you, man.
MJ BizCon's quite an event that if you're
right there with you.
if you're in the pot industry in any way, shape, or form, you got to attend because it'll have an impact on you and your operations and how you think. A lot of the people that come to these events are very similar to myself. That we just, I don't always need a contract to tell you what the hell is going on. Like I'll sit down and consult your business without thinking of what I did to it because we're just like that. And there's a ton of dudes that come to these events that are all just kind of trying to help each other's things work and get to the best knowledge, whatever it is that we're doing. And I've been blown away by that conference over the years.
You've been blessed too, man, to keep some good people around you, man. So who's some of the people around you, your team, you want to shout out and give some props?
Oh man, I mean, first off, Dan, I love you, bro. Thanks for everything. But there have been you're hitting on the biggest thing because there have been moments where we've had companies that have tried to swallow us up and have offered things, and at the end of the day, what I really decided to go with was just my team. And my team of people that I know all around the country. I got Dwayne Von Eitzen is a dear friend with the Great Gatsby that he's going to be helping me out at the Lexi Hotel. He's somebody I also knew through High Times. Oh my gosh, I'd have to actually think for a second before I start naming names. I mean, Jess is here that has helped me out,
Jess,
and
yeah.
Amy is another one that's just helped me immensely here in the area. Jason Harris with Jerome Baker Designs has been just a dear friend and helped me in a multitude of ways. Sheldon and Tyler Cooper that do the Cannabis Awards and run Tattoos and Smoke here locally.
Right,
Their Cannabis
right.
Awards is getting bigger and bigger and more energy every time they go along, and the way they help out guys like my boy Domingo Burndown, whose hat I got on right now. And my gosh, I know, and right as I'm doing this, I know I'm gonna forget like 10 dudes that are like, thanks a lot. Hey, Vic is out there, and Mikey from Nothing But Fire is another bro that has just been immense to me over the years. But the Cannabis Talk dudes
I was
have
gonna
helped
say
out.
Cannabis Talk 101.
Joe-
They're gonna be up there.
Yeah.
Man. Shout out to them, man. Nothing but
Absolutely.
love.
They're doing a great job with the industry of getting everybody on and letting us tell our stories real naturally. We've talked about getting me on there, and I'll probably be going on that show soon. But they're just great dudes that do a lot of killer events within the show. But I get a ton of love. I mean, John Capetta was huge to me back doing the High Time stuff, and we got told instantly, like, you can't talk about none of this stuff. Like, I don't even know if I'm allowed to be explaining it here right now, but here we are.
Hey, be worldwide with it, man.
It to me, that was one of the coolest things we ever did. We went to a Raider game, and I was doing personal interviews with people for High Times. We got like 1,000 interviews all around Raider games.
Come on now.
Should the NFL players be allowed to smoke weed? That was what I was asking people, and the answers I got were just amazing. I mean, they were just, well, aren't they allowed to? It's like, no, actually it's illegal, and they get booted out of the league and have to go to rehab to get back into the league, and it's a pain in the ass. And
I can say this now, man, as a retired City of Las Vegas employee, 22 years. Man, I smoked weed on the job 14 of the 22 years I was there. And I left in one of the highest positions in my department. I'm just saying, trained a lot of people. No disrespect, or to each his own. Everybody got to do what works for them.
yeah,
But I smoked before, during, and after.
all my life.
You know
I had a
what I
routine
mean?
before coaching where I would get home, I'd have to take 3-4 bong hits. I got to get in the shower, get the aftershave going, so
Good
no,
workout.
and get the mouthwash going to make sure nobody gets no hint of nothing. And I had guys like Frosty who came up to me telling me,
That's what's up.
Coach, I know you've been smoking weed every day, bro.
Wow.
Just, you know, and I'm like, I thought I pulled it off. And the real dudes knew, and just that's the way it was, but they accepted it, you know, and that was cool because at that time, that was saying a lot. There were
Yeah.
dudes that were ousted for it.
But even now, man, weed is a laid back drug. Weed.
Do you get high anymore?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Man, wow. Look at him switched it up interviewing me. That's a powerful question.
Are you a 10 blunt a day guy?
No, I'm
I
not
am.
even. Well, I
I might
am.
be 20.
Okay, well,
But
that's
I-
why I'm not 10.
I don't
Because
know
I'm
that
a
I
20.
get high anymore.
Well,
I don't know
here's
that I
the
get high
thing.
anymore,
Watch
like-
this. Watch this. First of all, we know we gotta have some quality shit. That's first. And you have to actually sit down and relax. We get into deep conversations. We don't even really hit the weed, inhale it and hold it there and just enjoy it. We're like, man, pass the weed. But shit, I ain't even hit it yet. It's the same old. I get high when I actually take the time to enjoy the shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when I'm doing 19, when I'm Jamaican and
Yeah.
have 9 jobs,
Yeah.
I can't enjoy it. You know
They've
what I
been
mean?
watching me all day. We got embroidery going and designs going, and
Right.
I'm on the phone, you know, with where's the fucking money, you know, and
Look,
just all this.
we're habitual people. Of course, like a blunt. I roll a blunt, I'm smoking the whole blunt, right? I might not even need the whole blunt, but because I like smoking and it's habitual, I'll just continue. Just the last 3-4 days, I've been testing myself. I've been smoking a half a blunt, man, and then it'll kick in. I'm gonna finish it off anyway, whether I'm in the car or at home, but I recognize that, oh wow, I gave it a chance to actually kick in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, hey,
I've tried on Thanksgiving this THCA stuff, and you know, there's whole world talks about it. It's chemicals, it's different, it's
Right.
and I don't know what the fuck to make out of all this shit. Either all I know is I tried it this weekend, and oh my god,
really?
I was blown away. I was so high and ate and just
Oh,
sat there
wow.
watching movies that I would never have watched otherwise. I felt buzzed for the first time in weeks.
You know
And-
what, with me too, man, we're so busy.
Yeah.
We're on the go so much, man.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And
No, I got to admit, shout out to my youngest daughter, or my oldest daughter, Savannah, who has a 2-year-old little boy who I have not met.
what?
Now, I'm trying to give myself I didn't meet my grandfather till I was 2.5. And he was the most important man in my life, without question. So I'm trying not to think
So you got a 6
I really
months grace
screwed up.
period?
Well, we had one event. I was in Tulsa, and we were about to go to Nashville, and I was going to surprise her to say, I'm taking you backstage to Dog's concert tomorrow night. I had just done a 2-night show with him, and when I called her last minute, she's like, Dad, I'm leaving on a plane tomorrow to go see Mom back in California. I'm not going to be here Saturday night. And so that was one missed off. We just had a bunch of those. I gotta drop what I'm doing and get out there. I promised
You really
myself
do.
I'll do
You're
it by
all
Christmas.
over the world making shit happen, man.
I got
Come
this
on.
Google thing
Hey,
sent to me once.
We ain't promised the next moment.
Thank you. I need
Get
to
to that
remember that. I
grandbaby.
will. I will. I promise. This Google page got sent to me recently, and it has everywhere that I've gone. And I had to look at it for a second and kind of say, whoa. Like there were 3,422 trips over 4 years.
Did you wait? Hold on. Did you got 3,400?
I couldn't believe it. It was the way it pinged me from all over the country, and just realizing
I
like,
knew you traveled.
whoa.
But for real?
yeah, I was nutty for a little while. I've kind of slowed down recently, but and that's kind of the point of Summer Honey, is getting other people doing a few things, so I'm not just doing it all. Another person I'm thinking of is Ed, who invented Snoop's Nutrients.
Okay.
Because it's funny, because we got an interesting history, and especially where that company and all of this is at the moment. But I'm 12, 15 years older than the dude, and there's not many young dudes I listen to. And he taught me so much shit. That guy's a fucking genius. And like, you know, so it's one of those things where we have this thing that I don't know that where it's at today. I just know this much. I learned just an immense amount from that dude. He's so true and knows so much about the game and genetics, and taught me so much about growing that evolved my skills to a different level. I don't let many
So
people,
not-
nobody yells at me without maybe getting me to
Come on now. Come on, what's up?
and man, he could turn me into, like, it was a trip, because he could yell at me and I'd be like, "You're right about everything, I'm sorry." You know, like, he just had a way about him. Dude was powerful motherfucker, man. And he met Dog when he was like 21 years old.
Oh man.
Dog flew over to Europe back in the
About
day.
30 years ago.
Dude, this was before you could take, now they can jump on a plane with a pound and custom look the other way, nobody gives a fuck. There was a time where everybody that would go to Europe would be there for 12 days and they have no weed. They couldn't take any with them. They'd have to literally like find people in London that would have the hookup, and that's how they met each other, is because everybody in the area had basically said, "Go find this dude, he's got the best weed." And sure enough, he did. The first time I got high with dude, I left him and drove thinking I was heading back to the OC in traffic. About the third off ramp, I had to pull over and take a nap. I was so fucked up. This shit was just bomb.
Yeah.
Just bomb. And yeah, and all the dudes that were involved with all that have spawned out to, they all have the biggest brands in the game. There's about 5 of them out there that are just massive.
All right, well, it looked like our audio team back there is in overtime, man. We want to give it up to Jay Dollars, man, for the audio and visual. Our head sponsor, Vague Ringtone. You know, Mr. Mike Elliott, the host. D Good in the building, Valley Streets. Sack, our special guest, man, with the 420 Honey. If you don't know, now you know.
420 Honey.
Come on,
Hey,
420
listen.
Honey.
Hey, I'd like to thank you, man, for being on the Vague Ringtone Show.
Appreciate you having me.
Definitely unity, peace, and togetherness. They say we better together.
Yeah.
So with GPMG, Vague Ringtone, Coaches Network, and some few other labels and entities that are joined in together, we welcome you to come out anytime you like. This house is your house. You know
Appreciate
what I mean?
that.
So feel like you're at home every time you come.
You know
here.
what I want to leave this with is that we have some new products that are coming out that we're going to be hiring people in a lot of inner cities around the country.
Come on.
That if you a young up and coming dude that you need some work, I want them to start hitting me up, because I'd rather get them involved. That I want people in the community that we're trying to sell these things to be the ones that are pushing it to the places that it needs to get to. And I think we can have a little bit of an impact to create some sales opportunities for some kids and our younger generation. That's who does sales.
Y'all heard that. Y'all make sure y'all keep that.
In-house.
Hey, keep that. Rewind this. Make sure you pay attention, because if you need a job, or your kids need a job, or somebody that's out there that's on fire, that really ready to work, hey, he's offering your position right now. My man Sack in the building. Can we get a hand for Sack?
And our website is 420honey, HUNNY.com, www.420hunny.com. Hit me up anytime. I answer everything. I'm also on IG, Facebook, and Twitter, all under Sack 420 Honey or Sack Honey.
So how are they spelling Sack? SAC?
SAC. Yeah, it comes from Santa Ana College. I was a ball boy there when I was 8 years old. They gave me a hat that said Sack, and I didn't take it off for 2 years. It became, my last name is Cossack.
Okay.
So it just became an
it fits.
abbreviated
It's natural.
version of me.
Just fit right like a glove.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. Bonafide 100 plug to the city. We thank y'all for tuning in. We'll catch y'all next week.
Peace.
Good stuff. Thank you.
You, man,
Thank you.
you a
Good job, guys.
walking
Good job.